I detailed his corruptive influence in my book, Nigeria and its Criminal Justice System. And what he has done is exactly what he has always done in hiding, but he has done it this time again. And the calculations were that I would have been picked up, taken before this judge who must have either been compromised or misled in Ekiti. And I would have been remanded in prison custody for being somebody who was meant to face trial and who had refused to bring himself to court. I am reliably informed that social media influencers had been paid to spin these narratives after my arrest. Human rights activists have been positioned to start speaking after my arrest, including one Agbaya. High offices in this country have been compromised in pursuit of my persons. High offices, from the Inspector General's office, because the police have been subverted. The Attorney General of the Federation needs to examine himself because his office has been somehow linked to this as well. I do not know if the presidency is directly involved in this, and I will not make frivolous charges. But high offices have been subverted in pursuit of a criminal purpose. I have committed no crime, done nothing wrong. If I have committed any wrong for which the state requires my attendance in a court or at a police station, they know exactly where I live. I will live only once, but I will not live cowering to any man. Let us be clear.
What is going on in Nigeria as of today is something that need a lot of attention. Many people are not really paying close attention to what is going on. If Mr. President, who was a victim of all of this drama back in the early 90s, cannot speak out and direct the Nigerian police to release Dele Farotimi immediately, then is something that is not good for his administration at all. But however, let's listen to what Dele Farotimi have to say as his voice continued to echo from the walls of prison.
I became aware that some men purporting to be policemen from the Ekiti State Police Command were in Lagos on a mission to abduct me. I believe the Ekiti State Police Command is under the Zone 2 at Onikon. I was at Onikon repeatedly, and nobody was aware of any form of interest in me by the Ekiti State Police Command, or any police information for that matter. So at this point, knowing and being very familiar with the evil forest that we call Nigeria, because that is what we have built. So living in this evil forest, it became particularly clear that I must be very careful with my movement because there were kidnappers on the prowl, or perhaps hired killers, because this could definitely not have been policemen. I wasn't missing, I wasn't lost, my whereabouts was not unknown. But these persons were intent on abducting me. Knowing all of this, I was forced to avoid publicizing the funeral services of my father-in-law, which took place in Ibadan last week. I had to be moving around like a prey, being hunted by persons who are meant to be paid by my taxes for my protection. Knowledge that there is a charge that had been fraudulently preferred against me before a court in Ekiti State at the instance of Chief Afe Babalola. This charge had been fraudulently preferred, hidden from view, and the court had purportedly demanded my presence multiple times, and I had failed to appear before this court. And this court had then proceeded to issue a bench warrant for my arrest. This is classic Afe Babalola. If and when I have a charge to answer before a court, you all know where I live. I'm not hiding, and I'm not running away from anybody. Let us be very clear about that. I will never run away from Nigeria. We all have to pretend that we are in a democracy, and we have to pretend that we are citizens, and we have to pretend that we are a country ruled by law. And by all means, you will pretend that we are. I have done nothing, and if I have a charge that should be preferred against me, bring it on. I'm happy to come to court to have my day. If there is a crime, there must be justice, not only for the person who is aggrieved. There must be justice for the accused. And there must also be justice for the system. This is not how to build a rule-based system where the system itself becomes so criminal that policemen were engaged in criminality. I was at zone 2 twice. But this, they never reported in any police station in Lagos. Never. This was a rogue operation designed to achieve a criminal purpose.
Now, I haven't heard from Dele Farotimi. Here is the speech by the coordinator of the obident movement in Nigeria, of which they released a statement yesterday in condemnation to the arrest and remand of Dele Farotimi, one of the strong members of the obident movement, as well as exposing the plot to arrest His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi, the presidential candidate of Labour Party during the 2023 general election, as well as one of the key obidents or the reason behind the obident movement in Nigeria. We, the obident movement crusade, express our deepest concern and shock regarding the Gestapo's arrest of obident Dele Farotimi, a renowned human rights lawyer, an activist, and advocate for good governance. His detention, allegedly stemming from a petition filed to Inspector General of the Police, raises serious questions about the misuse of power and the suppression of freedom of speech in Nigeria. This government inflicted pain on the Nigerian people by increasing the cost of fuel price with impunity from 165 naira to 1,100 naira and above, depending on one location, thereby increasing the cost of food items and other essential commodities directly linked to purchase of premium motor spirit with absolutely nothing to show for it. Now, people can no longer afford a square meal in a day, not to talk of 3 square meals in their houses. Civil servants are impoverished. The Nigerian people are living in total hunger, with poverty increasing beyond measure. The Nigerian people are making fantastic effort to survive with no certainty of what tomorrow brings. In addition, they floated the naira, increased the exchange rate of naira to dollar from the rate of $1 to 1,800 naira, as the case may be, with which has trickling down effect on purchase and consumption without being in trying to revive our industrial, support agriculture, and boost the economy. Businesses are collapsing due to cost of running them. Set up funds for SME are high, with interest rates rising to 27%. Where does the administration want the common man to face? Insecurity has skyrocketed due to hunger, maintaining our health sectors in a total shambles, to mention but a few. Similarly, the unprecedented increase in electricity tariff without the service to render had affected tremendously the economy and the living standard of the Nigerians. The purported tax reform, which has a system motive, with further impoverish the people without commensurate productive reform that can help the nation economy to thrive. There is hunger in the land. The so-called minimum wage for the Nigerian people cannot afford a bag of rice, spaghetti, vegetable oil, etc. Sadly, but the bitter truth is that when salaries are paid, the money gets finished or spent in advance. In fact, most civil service servants, public servants, affirm to me that their salary lasts for just 48 hours, while others last for just a week. The proceeds to borrow from online loan, and unfortunately, people can no longer take care of their basic needs. Security, transportation to work, food, education, health are the lowest. In fact, most families with 1 or 2 children have decided to put a stop to procreation due to unwanted hardship. As a vocal advocate for human rights, Dele Farotimi has consistently spoken out against injustice and campaigned the rights of a marginalization community, and the arrests appear to be a blunted attempt to silence him and intimidate others who dare to challenge the status quo. On these notes, we unequivocally condemn these notorious acts of abuse of power and demand that the Nigerian police respect Dele Farotimi fundamental human rights as enshrined in the section 40 of chapter 4 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as amended, we urge the Nigerian authority to ensure his immediate and unconditional release, guaranteeing that his rights are protected throughout the process. Failure to release him immediately, we will invoke our fundamental right as citizens to engage in a series of public protests across the country to challenge this gross abuse of power and neglect of the people. Furthermore, we call on the international community to take note of these disturbing developments and to stand in solidarity with Dele Farotimi and all those who are fighting for justice and human rights in Nigeria. The protection of human rights and the promotion of free speech are essential to a healthy democracy, and we must collectively defend those processes. Finally, we are aware of the one-by-one arrest which is targeted towards the arrest of His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi for speaking truth to power. We want to assure you that we will resist any form of cruelty or abuse of power against Mr. Peter Obi. Nigerians belong to all of us. We must be free of tyranny and impunity, and democracy must be protected. We stand in solidarity with Dele Farotimi and demand his immediate release. Now, what do you make of all of these? From the speech of the coordinator of the national coordinator of the obident movement in Nigeria, Dr. Yusua Tanko, to the reactions of Nigerians to this particular development. And now, I won't be surprised if His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi is picked up tomorrow morning. And this is the reason why when I see Nigerians reacting and saying that picking people like or person like Dele Farotimi is enough for His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi to stage a massive protest for his release and all of that. You know, one thing that you need to understand is this: when you are trying as much as possible to bring Nigerians out of those cankerworms and politicians who are now vampires eating the destiny of the unborn children in Nigeria, you have to be very, very careful with every move you make. And that is the reason why those that keep on saying that Peter Obi is becoming more like somebody who is not a leader, I stand to disagree with them. Like you see, person of Kenneth Okonkwo, who once said that Peter Obi is not proactive enough. You must not be doing all this abracadabra movement. Person like Sowore, who has been engaging the government in one way or the other, many Nigerians believe that yes, he is a better fit to Peter Obi because of his kind of protest kind of movement and all of that. But then the Nigerian government will not take the movement of Sowore to protest to that of Peter Obi, judging by the result of the 2023 general election. Do you know that Sowore was not able to get up to 1 million votes in the last election? But then His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi gathered 6 million votes. Do you know what it means? When the president himself cannot even get up to 9 million votes. The difference between Bola Tinubu allocated votes and that of Peter Obi is less than 1 million. So imagine Peter Obi calling for a protest. It's a total shutdown of the country. And that, the government can rely on that and see that he wants to remove Bola Tinubu from power unconstitutionally, and because of his desperate to be the president, and they will pick him up on that basis and lock him up, and all of your cry and prayer for a better Nigeria may not come up as you want it as fast as you can get it, which by 2027 hopefully, if all hands are on deck, is going to be possible. But what do you make of this? These are my opinion. What do you think of this press briefing, press release by the national coordinator of the obedient movement, as well as the reactions of Nigeria regarding Dele Farotimi? Let me have your take at the comment section. Thank you for watching.